everybody. So I was asked to make a video on making bas relief roses. Um, my sculpture is always with that 2.5D, I don't make 3D sculpture, but it's not flat either. The benefit of that is that when you have a functional mug, like I just keep on giving you an example of my mug, but see how it's still smooth. So the glaze fills in all the little crevices and it's still easy to wash. It can go in the dishwasher, if the food gets into it, it's not a big deal. If you make something that is completely 3D, which I'm going to show you how to make because why not, but you may want to consider, how functional you want your piece to be at the end. Something that gets a lot of food contact, you may want to try to do a relief sculpture instead. Just so you don't have to go to find a different video just for this. This is how you make a 3D rose. You pinch a little thin slab of clay, you roll it up like this, and then you just start adding the petals on. Make a petal, add it on, make another petal, add it on. They're juxtaposed, so they will be on two different sides and they always overlap in roses. You make other flowers just the same way, you just have to follow the petal sequence, I guess, of different flowers. So you just keep on adding the petals and you would get something like this, and that's what we oftentimes see made in pottery, right? It's pretty common to see. So now you have a rose and you can push them back, and if you pinch them into little triangles, then all of a sudden it starts looking like a real rose, okay? But as you can see, this would be really, really hard to wash and hard to use on a functional piece of pottery. So what I do is I make something that is 3D, however it is flat. And that is something that is called bas relief, or I call it relief pottery, okay? So I will show you two techniques today, and one of them will be a rose that you're looking straight at an open flower, and the other one will be a rose that is slightly at an angle, okay? I am going to try to make it into this like big macro version because it's really hard to see, so I want you guys to try to just see the technique. Once you get like how to make 3 petals, like you've got it, like you don't need me anymore. So let's start with the easy one. That is the rose where you're looking straight at the flower. Here, let me find a good spot where you can maybe start to begin to see it. Okay, I'm gonna move the camera, okay? So you guys can hopefully be looking down at the work. All right, so the tools that I usually use, now you guys, I make much smaller pieces, obviously, and you can see the difference in size, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes, but the tools that I would be using in my work, because I work on such a small scale, would be an X-Acto knife, which I can't find at the moment. Always a brush to smooth it over, always, always. And something with a little flat tip to press in those negative spaces for the petals, okay? Oh, I found my X-Acto knife. It's now stuck in my finger. Here we go. Okay. So sometimes I use this. This is, I think, maybe like a dermatology tool, or even maybe like an ear tool. I think I bought it at Rite Aid or CVS. X-Acto knives, obviously, you can get them everywhere where there's art supplies. I think I'm gonna use a wooden stick for this one just because it's so huge. Okay, so I start by making a mess out of the center. Okay. Doesn't look like anything, right? Now watch this. I'm gonna start pushing in. And I just pushed in a petal. You see that? Now I am going to push back the bulk of the clay and push in again. Now your next petal is going to start halfway through your old petal. See that? That way they actually look like they're overlapping. And you push it in. And make sure that you connect it to the other side, okay? smooth everything back, push it back. Again, I'm gonna start, I just wanna make sure that you can see it. See how I'm pushing the bulk of the clay right into my petal? Sorry, working on a large scale has its consequences. Here we go. See this? Just like that. Don't worry about the mess in the back, because it's all going to become petals anyway. And connect it. Again, start in the center of the petal. Push, push. This is me getting sloppy. Push, okay? Sometimes I smooth it a little bit, just so it's easier to work with. Here's the middle of the petal. I'm gonna push towards the middle of the petal. Go around. Again, if you need more clay, just borrow more clay from this big bulk here. Okay, you have tons of clay here available. Just like this. And you get the idea, okay? Now you have a rose. So I'm basically pushing on the negative spaces to pop out the positive spaces. Does that make any sense? All right, I always say that during my videos, does it make any sense? And nobody ever says no, so I hope it does. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to make an angled approach to the rose. It's a little bit, I don't know if it's more difficult or not, but you have to kind of plan a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna put down a few petals. Now what I do with these is after they're dried on my surface, I actually cast them in silicone so that I don't have to do this for every single flower that I make. So you will see me kind of smear them right onto my surface because it's not going anywhere, it's gonna stay on the surface. Okay, so I'm setting up a little fan of petals. Now, if you were really making this, of course, you would take your brush and you would smooth down the rims, right? So you don't have any like cracked surfaces or anything like that. Okay, now, do you remember how I showed you how I made that 3D rose? You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna pinch a little flat, little slabby slab and roll it up, okay? And you're gonna place it, find a pretty spot. You're gonna place it just like this, right? Like overlapping those petals. Oh, I'm shaking the table, I'm so sorry. That was probably really annoying. My apologies. Okay. And now I'm gonna start taking these slabs, tucking them in, because they're coming from behind the flower, and laying them like this. So, tuck, tuck, and if you can't tuck, make yourself some space. Take a tool, make some space. Now don't be afraid to push on your clay. It can always be placed back. You can even lift it a little bit and see how now it's becoming a rose? Now, if you want it to look a little bit more realistic, as you're coming out this way, you can do two things. You can start putting them up more vertical, which is what I usually do, and then start turning them over like this. See how now it's starting to look like a more mature rose. The other thing that I have seen people do, that I usually don't do, but I've seen people take like a flat petal, lay it, pinch the end, lay it flat, and then they take, like they score it, and they make it look like it was folded over. Right, and then they kind of carve out the rest of the petal. So you can do that too, but I think that's a pain in the butt. So I just like to just pinch it over. Much easier. Much, much easier, okay? And so you keep on doing that until you have something that it looks like a flower. Your final few petals will be open all the way. Don't mind the cracks, I'm just showing you the technique. Obviously this would be all much wetter clay and smoothed over much better. This was a real piece of work, but here you go, okay? And so, it's kind of upside down for you, it's weird. So you kind of get a sense for, you know, what a flower would be, okay? Now, different roses are different. You can make like this area, instead of putting in so many petals, you can just make it chunkier. Like, you know how I like rolled up that one little slab? Well, you can take a much bigger slab and roll it up so that you have a much bigger like flower bud to work with. You know, it just depends on the type of a rose that you're sculpting. But that's basically how I make my roses. If you guys want me to go over anything else about the roses, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will be happy to show you whatever I just skipped or missed or whatever. But I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on YouTube, and yeah, those are two of my main channels. Have a great day, guys. Bye!